E vamos lá, rapaziada. Salve, salve todo mundo. Aqui é AUTOPSY aqui trazendo mais um vídeo pra vocês. Então deixa o like aí, se inscreve no canal. E é nóis, compartilha também, hein? Então vamos lá. Vamos ver como que ficou aqui. Rapaz, você é uma cantora, hein?
Ah, yes. Samantha Barker. Now I remember. There's probably gonna be a lot of chatter about this. Found in her own apartment by police patrol. Officers were called by a concerned friend of the deceased, who had been unable to contact Barker for several days. During the interrogation, a friend of the deceased admitted that Samantha never got to grips with the sudden fame that came after winning such a high-profile talent show. When questioned, friends admitted that Samantha's last days before losing contact seemed extremely happy and relaxed. She also quit drinking alcohol and mentioned something about rehab. The friend also admits that there was no indication of an impending tragedy. After her first album became a commercial success, she was hit with a creative drought. She suffered panic attacks and severe sleep problems. Drugs and medication came into play. The deceased was found in her own apartment, in a semi-recumbent position on an armchair. Large quantities of alcohol and empty packets of sleeping pills were also found in the apartment. Well, let's see what settled this matter. As you can see, the body is fully clothed. Therefore, before we move on to photographic documentation, we must remove the clothes. This time, we don't have to focus on the clothes too much. However, there are cases where a clothing analysis can lead to the cause of death. Okay, now we can continue with the examination. Again, begin by taking photographs of the cadaver. I guarantee that over time it will cease being embarrassing for you. First, we photograph the whole body.
Foi enforcada.
And now, any suspicious-looking marks or wounds. You don't get such bruises from a normal contusion. Yes, I've seen this many times. Interesting. Very uneven. We need to investigate this. there's even more here.
Vamos lá então.
A few we will need to look into here.
Ela tem quantos anos? 28 anos, mulher branca.
Notes prepared. Time to take a closer look. Some furrows have imprinted more strongly, others less, as if someone was, undecided? The number of bruises suggests that there may have been some kind of tussle. Such bruises are caused by either a very heavy blow or by some internal issues. And here's something interesting. The skin of the deceased is covered with numerous blisters. Some of them are ruptured, others still contain fluid residue. More numerous blisters. We have some leads to investigate here. Let's write this down. On the neck of the deceased, we can see clear furrows, indicating that strangulation may be the probable cause of death. Given the condition of the deceased, it's difficult to tell immediately whether the bruises were the result of a struggle or perhaps the result of iron deficiency. In general, such blisters usually appear in the case of mechanical abrasions, but due to the place of occurrence, currently it's difficult to say whether the bruises were the result of a beating or whether it could be some kind of internal bleeding. Although it's easier to have abrasions on your feet, but the number and size of the blisters suggests that it's probably a matter. After examining the organs, we can easily verify whether there was internal bleeding or whether the deceased was suffering. A severed spinal cord, trauma to the larynx, or trachea will verify whether the hanging. Examination with a UV lamp will dispel some doubts. Potential attackers could have left traces. I'll add barbiturates to the list of necessary tests to be checked in the lab later. Given the testimony of the victim's friend, I add alcohol poisoning to the list of potential causes of Miss Barker's death. A blood test will no doubt quickly verify that hypothesis. But first I'll check for external traces. For this we use the good old UV lamp. I look carefully at the whole body. The area around the head is empty. Torso, right hand clean. The left hand seems to be fine. No marks. Legs, there's nothing here. Well, nothing to surprise us here. Now gently, we take the deceased by the hand.
Vamos ver.
And we check for rigor mortis. Again, the hand falls freely. Since we don't have a definitive lead, we will examine all the key organs one by one. So, I'm starting the internal inspection. I dissect the skin of the deceased. and I proceed to deflect the skin flaps. Compared with yesterday's body, the deceased has only trace amounts of adipose tissue. Now for the ribs. What do we have here? Or rather, what don't we have? There is certainly no sign of internal bleeding. Before I disembowel the deceased, I will take samples for toxicological tests to determine the alcohol content in the body. I just need my syringe. Just to be sure, I'm taking samples from 3 organs: the eyeball, the heart, and the bladder. Analysis will rule out, or confirm, alcohol poisoning as the cause of death. I'll transfer these to the centrifuge. My old but trusted centrifuge. Ideal for all the fluid tests I need to perform during an autopsy. Poor soul. I get cases like this more than any other. What was it? 15, 70, 10, 75?
Era bem centrifugar.
Scalpel, scissors, syringe, magnifying glass, knife. I guess I forgot to clean the knife.
É bom centrifugar, né, pra ver o exame.
Numbers have never been my strong point. It's probably why I regularly forgot birthdays and anniversaries.
Eu esqueci,
Lucky
cara,
Alice
que é
always
daqui.
forgave me. Gently does it with this old thing. Handle with kid gloves. I'm starting the centrifuge. Let's see what results come out. The laboratory is already open, so... Fucking hell! Ridley!
Eita
Mr.
porra.
Ridley! The fuses need resetting. Where is he? Fuck it. I'll do it myself. First the right, and then the left. Your other right, Jack. And voila. Oh, for fuck's sake. Can't I work in peace?
Porra. Ué, o cara sumiu, velho. Eita, carai. Bug no jogo. Oxi, o cara sumiu, velho.
Jack Hanman speaking.
Easy, why so rude?
Steve? Sorry, man. This place is falling apart, and Ridley won't even lift a finger to help. You just can't work here.
Did the centrifuge trip the fuses again?
Yeah, eventually everything's gonna go up in smoke.
Look on the bright side. It's a free cremation with your autopsy.
Jesus, stop it. That shit pisses me off.
Okay, sorry, Jack. Anyway, I'm calling to ask how the autopsy's going. Soon there'll be journalists sniffing around for info, so we'd best be ready.
I'll whiz through this in a couple of hours. It doesn't look like a complicated case to me. More of a formality. The report will be available in the morning.
Sounds great. Thanks. Phew. How's your head?
Well, my head seems better than yours. On the way to work.
Holy fuck.
What? What's happening?
Quiet.
A 3-car police convoy was involved in an accident near Pete's Bay Bridge while transporting prisoners to Orleans Parish Prison. At the moment, we do not know the exact number of victims or whether any of the convicts escaped. However, the scale of the accident indicates a large number of victims, possibly even fatal ones. Police are on their way to investigate the incident and secure the area. We know that the injured prisoners are on death row. The police were to transport them to their execution, which was to take place tomorrow morning. Many of them are very dangerous criminals. We will report on the matter on an ongoing basis, so stay tuned with us.
What? Was... Steven... Was Red Pete one of the passengers? He was, wasn't he? What if he survived?
Jack, I have to go. They want me on site.
What if he survived?
I gotta go. Talk to you later, okay?
Fuck. Calm down, Jack. Pills. I need my pills. Yes. Nothing's going to happen. Christ. I've got to get back to work.
Bora. Levanta, parceiro.
Technical break. At least I know I can pursue a career as a janitor if I need my old but trusted centrifuge. Ideal for all the fluid tests I need to perform during an autopsy. Alright, let's see if we were able to get anything out of this piece of crap. And miraculously, yes, the samples did spin. I'll transfer them to the chromograph in the lab.
Oi. O rádio ligou sozinho, véi.
Alright, let's load this up. I placed the test tubes in the rack. Now, just take 5 milliliters from each. Precisely. And the next. Five more. We put the prepared sample into the machine.
Vamos lá.
Let's see what we have here. The results indicate that the deceased did consume alcohol shortly before her death. However, this is not an amount that could cause poisoning leading to death. Just slight inebriation.
Zero de embriaguez.
I can return to the body and continue the rest of the examination.
Foi morta antes da embriaguez.
The chromatograph results show that we can eliminate alcohol poisoning from our list of potential causes of death. However, Remember that alcohol can affect the functioning of the entire body. It disturbs the heart rhythm, accelerating its rate, and dilutes the blood, which may result in more severe bleeding in the event of an accident. Also remember that alcohol affects the metabolism of drugs in the liver, which I'll now look at in more detail. First, I'll pick up the syringe again. I'll take samples from the liver and the heart to test the concentration of barbiturates in the body.
Vou tirar o sangue dela pra ver agora.
That's enough. I'll do the test later. I'd best not try my luck with the centrifuge right now. Now I remove the liver. No lesions. However, it is slightly enlarged. Perhaps it's a slight inflammation or drug-induced damage. It may also be the result of the deposition of substances from drugs. Let's check the weight of the organ. The weight is 1,300 grams. The liver is enlarged. I'll move on to a cross-sectional study. Perhaps the enlargement is the result of early cancerous changes. The blade glides through smoothly. I don't feel like I'm encountering any changes with an unusual structure. No steatosis or cirrhosis. The liver is actually quite clean inside. The liver is basically healthy. We already know that the deceased didn't abuse alcohol. The question is, what about drugs or other substances? I move on to the heart. Oh. At a glance, we can see signs of a heart attack. The deceased is definitely too young to have a heart attack due to natural causes. The liver is enlarged, not from alcohol poisoning, and the heart looks like it has collapsed. So, I guess we need to go to the centrifuge and check for these barbiturates. I wonder how she was able to get hold of these drugs. The last time I saw this kind of poisoning was a few years ago. He was a middle-aged guy. He took his medication and forgot about it. So he took another pill. He forgot again and took another one. And another one. Until he took the last one. That's why it's better to have amnesic drugs in boxes labeled with the days of the week. This sort of thing rarely happens anymore. Doctors tend to prescribe benzodiazepines. They are safer, but still shouldn't be combined with alcohol. We close the centrifuge and pray that it doesn't trip anything again. It looks like our luck is in. We can take the samples to the lab now.
Vamos no laboratório.
Okay, 2 samples, 6 milliliters each. Well, let's see how much of it we
Aê!
find. Nothing surprising. Significant amounts of phenobarbital metabolites of hepatic origin. Looks like I'll have to check the contents of the deceased's stomach. The tests showed that the collected blood contained enough barbiturates to cause cardiopulmonary collapse. The question now is whether it was an accident or a deliberate act. I'm proceeding to examine the stomach. Before extraction, I ligate the entire organ to prevent its contents from spilling out. Okay, I'm now cutting out the organ, which will move to the board for dissection. Normally, the stomach and intestines are full of surprises. But not this time. We see remnants of undigested food and a dense mass of pills. You don't take this many drugs by accident. Length and width normal. No obvious pathological changes. Undigested drugs found in the stomach of the deceased.
Álcool não é.
The direct cause of death was probably an overdose. I'll check the rest of the deceased's trachea as normal. Complete patency. No food or fluid. Lungs are normal, no lesions. The victim was probably a smoker, but was unlikely to be in any serious danger. The deceased's intestine is normal. No clear pathological changes. Abdominal cavity checked off. We can check the brain. I make a cut to open the lid of the victim's skull and remove the brain. Brain is normal. No obvious lesions. Alright, I need to dissect it on a board. No, this is too much for me. My pills, they should be in the bathroom.
Tá ruim de novo. Entrando em depressão.
Using a knife, I carefully cut through the brain tissue. As expected, the deceased's brain is in excellent condition. No discoloration or changes due to hypoxia. There is still the matter of the marks on the neck. They look superficial, but who knows? Maybe the spinal cord has been severed. I need goggles and a saber saw. I think the goggles were in the desk drawer. Alice. Saw. Oh, I know. I probably left it in the basement after its last cleaning. Mr. Ridley, I need a key to the basement.
It's in the social room.
Why is the key lying at the... never mind. Thank you.
Hey, Hammond. Did you hear about the convoy? Well, maybe you'll get a chance to relive your glory days and catch Red Beat again, huh?
Let's hope there won't be a need for that. If only he could put that much enthusiasm into his work. I get the feeling that searching through this rubbish is more pathogenic than working with corpses. Archives. Just as lifeless as the corpses they concern. Please, may this be the last trip.
Pera aí.
A considerable collection.
Então vamos fazer o seguinte, no próximo vídeo a gente continua, fechou? Então é nóis, valeu e fui!